what happened so that people are applying to trademark the swastika and the N-word along with other derogatory terms? That's what we're gonna be breaking down for you today. So just to pick up, 9 applications to register derogatory words and symbols have been filed with the US Patent and Trademark Office following a US Supreme Court ruling in June that barring such trademarks was unconstitutional. To fill you in, it was deemed unconstitutional prior to a June 9th ruling. The office had regularly dismissed applications which may disparage persons living or dead, institutions, beliefs, or national symbols, or bring them into contempt or disrepute under Section 2A of the Trademark Act of 1946. But in this past June, that practice was now officially reversed in a case Metal v. Tam. In a unanimous decision, all 8 Supreme Court justices agreed that the disparagement provision offends a bedrock First Amendment principle. Speech may not be banned on the ground that it expresses ideas that offend. The case was brought about by a Portland, Oregon rock band, an Asian American band, that they wanted to trademark the band's name. The band's name is The Slants, and they explained in the New York Times the reason why they chose this band name was all about reclaiming the power of a disparaging word. The lead singer Tam said, "We had called ourselves the Slants as a way of seizing control of a racial slur, turning it on its head and draining its venom." Similar to this have been rulings in the cases of like Dykes on Bikes. They had their application accepted because the slur is no longer deemed offensive by the community. As someone who identifies as a dyke myself, I approve that message. Now, there are 2 schools of thoughts on this. Some people believe that it is opening up a Pandora's box, and other people believe that this is just sort of a pendulum shift, I guess, when it comes to legal progress. One person who believes it is opening Pandora's box is attorney and trademark expert David Bell, who told Reuters that the Supreme Court's ruling is dangerous and could lead to some not so good outcomes. He says, quote, "We're now opening the door, chipping away at what's acceptable under cultural norms. I think it could be a slippery slope where you get more people and companies thinking this is okay." Now, a different school of thought, Jennifer Giuliano, an assistant professor of history and author of Indian Spectacle, College Mascots, and the Anxiety of Modern America, says differently. Quote, "The people holding the trademark are people of that community, of that identity. That allows them a measure of cultural authority. I think it's really important for people to recognize that these types of decisions are not permanent. These types of legal decisions get continually re-litigated and re-challenged in the court system. For me, the Slants case is just another moment and stage." I would likely agree with that second opinion, saying that while this might have some unintended consequences, I think this is just a moment and a stage in time that we are going to see people being able to literally reclaim and trademark words that belong to their specific communities. Will there be some unintended consequences? Yes, we're already seeing, as we said at the top of the story, people are trying to trademark swastikas and the N-word. Now, it's a little ambiguous about their intentions behind doing so. I know that on NPR earlier this morning, they spoke to someone who was trying to file this trademark application, and he was not a part of a hate group. So some people are maybe trying to reclaim these words or to trademark these words to stop people that would have bad intent from doing so. I don't know, where do you land on this?
I mean, I think it's a slippery slope because how can you ensure that whoever is trying to copyright or trademark, the N-word or the swastika, how do you know for sure that they're not going to use it, in a derogatory way or in a way to make money for themselves? And how does like one corporation or one person copywriting or trademarking, how does that, I mean, I guess I wouldn't know how that would make the Black community feel if a random white person was like, I want to stop people from using this in a bad way. How are they able to identify with that word and be like, I'm helping them? Like, I just don't know how that would make that specific community feel if somebody else basically took their word that they identify with.
Yeah, it would be a little strange if someone were trying to trademark a derogatory term that did not apply to them if they were not a member of that community. That said, I also think that if someone were to trademark a symbol or a word and then try and use that for profit, for selling it on sort of merchandise, with some exemptions exempt from that, most people, in a free marketplace, they're not going to buy that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fortunately, swastikas are not like a hot trend.
Right.
So I kind of think that I agree with Jennifer Giuliano on this in just saying right now, let's allow people to trademark what they want to trademark, knowing that at some point in time another case will come before probably the Supreme Court again, and then they can litigate on that specifically. But as of right now, I don't think that this Trademark Act of 1946 should disallow the Slants from trademarking their band name.
Yeah, and I totally agree with how they're like, no, this is a word that was once used in a derogatory way against us. We're gonna take it and make it so that you can't say that to us. Basically, it has no effect on us.
You
in a
can,
negative
but we're
way.
gonna profit off
Exactly,
of it.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's our word now. We are reclaiming the power. I absolutely agree with that. I think that this is just a situation where the Supreme Court, they can only litigate, they can only decide on, because the Supreme Court can't, they can only decide on cases as they come before them.
Right.
And this is the cases they were deciding on, and to me it becomes very clear that the intent behind this was sound.
Yeah.
Now, I think that in the future, given that this has sort of opened up somewhat of a floodgate, that there will be another case that will be presented to the Supreme Court, and on that they can make a different decision with different boundaries.
So just a case-by-case basis, not really like a blanket, decision.
Yeah, because then you are limiting the freedom of speech for some people, which is not okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like hate speech and like hate symbols are totally different than just this sweet band, band from Portland, Oregon, who hopefully are getting some cool iTunes downloads from this story, getting picked up by so many outlets. But we want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What do you think about the decision on this case? I know there are two schools of thoughts on this, so I'd like to see where you guys land on it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we will see you next time on Pop Trigger.